At this time, I'd like to go ahead, if I can get everyone's attention, and please have a seat. We're going to go ahead and move on with our program. I'd like to invite Steve Prusak, the Senior Vice President of Corporate Planning and Technology from Chevron Phillips Chemical Company, to the stage. Steve?
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak with you today. As Russell said, I'm Steve Prusak. I'm the Senior Vice President of Corporate Planning and Technology with CP Chem, or Chevron Phillips Chemical Company. I'm going to take just a few seconds because I always get this question, what does corporate planning and technology actually mean? So inside of our company, I'm responsible for the relationship with our two owners, which are Chevron and Phillips 66. I also have the business development function, which includes things like strategy, capital allocation. I also am responsible for research and technology, so think of a chemist working on a new catalyst or a product. And then the last piece is the project execution piece, which is what brings me here today. I am here to talk to you primarily today about the work we're doing in Orange, Texas on an exciting project which we call Golden Triangle Polymers. I will say, just to ask for a little bit of grace, inside of CP Chem, we typically refer to this as GTP or GTPC. It's just the acronym that we use, so there may be an occasion or two where I slip into that through the course of this discussion. So before we dive into Golden Triangle's polymers, I'd like to set the stage for CP Chem's role in this project and in the industry more generally. Chevron Phillips Chemical Company is a joint venture between Chevron and Phillips 66 with more than 20 years of experience and a leader in the petrochemicals industry. Our vision is to be the premier chemical company known as the employer, supplier, neighbor, and investment of choice. We are a global manufacturer of petrochemicals that are essential to 70,000 applications, both industrial and consumer. We'd like to think that we're a trusted supplier. We supply into more than 140 countries worldwide. Since the inception of our joint venture in 2000, we've grown our asset base, we've tripled our asset base, and today it's about $18 billion. And depending on which year you're looking at, our annual revenue is around $14 billion. And most importantly, and I would tie it to some of the conversations I've heard in some of the other panels today, is that we offer enriching careers to 5,000 of our colleagues who are highly educated, dedicated, diverse, and working across 4 continents. Maybe a little bit of the CP Chem timeline just to familiarize yourself with us. We've had a historic drive for growth, as you can see on this slide, through joint ventures, both here in the US as well as in the Middle East. We also like to pride ourselves on the development of proprietary processes and technology. We maintain a focus on a portfolio that leverages operational and geographic strengths across the globe. Our global presence builds on a strategy to build petrochemical assets in regions with abundant and competitively priced feedstocks, of which the US is one of those and right near the top. So maybe before I get further into the talk, let's hone a little bit on our growth headlines, if you will, for 2023. We have a couple of photographs here to show to you what those were. First, in January of this year, CP Chem and Qatar Energy announced plans for a $6 billion integrated olefins complex in Qatar's Ras Laffan industrial city. That project will include a ethane cracker that's a little bigger than 2 million tons, and 2 high-density polyethylene units with a capacity of around 1.6, 1.7 million tons on an annual basis. That facility, at its peak, will have 14,000 construction workers working on the site and will lead to the creation of 550 permanent jobs. On the right-hand side of the photograph, or on the page, more recently in August, CP Chem celebrated the opening of our second U.S. 1-hexene unit in Old Ocean, Texas, which is located in Brazoria County. This facility utilizes our advanced technology to produce co-monomer grade 1 hexene for methylene. So with that as the background, I'm here today to talk to you about our Golden Triangle project in Orange, Texas, and to answer any questions that you may have about that project. We really do believe that this is a transformational project for our business, as well as for the local community in the Golden Triangle, and frankly, along the U.S. Gulf Coast more broadly. So to kick it off, I'd like to share with you the video that we used to kick off the groundbreaking ceremony for Golden Triangle in March of this year, and let's hope the technology works. Maybe with some sound. Well.
We strive to create sustainable solutions by teaming up with Qatar Energy on our new projects on the U.S. Gulf Coast and in Ross.
Thank you.
What began as one idea led to the formation of our project to make lives safer, easier, better. We strive to create sustainable solutions by teaming up with Qatar Energy on our new projects on the U.S. Gulf Coast and in Ras Laffan. Both multi-billion-dollar investments are about more than producing ethylene and polyethylene. Our growth will lead to the transformation of people, of communities, of our world. It's about supporting sustainable growth through helping to keep plastic waste out of the environment and aiming to reduce our footprint. From the feedstock to the furnaces, we designed key elements with fuel efficiency and lower energy consumption in mind. Our investment on the U.S. Gulf Coast will generate meaningful economic impact on the region. Through these investments, CP Chem and Qatar Energy are creating opportunities to give people the chance to advance their careers and build a future for themselves and their children for generations to come. Transformational growth begins here and now.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and that brings you equal excitement that we have for this project. So let's talk a little bit about this project itself. It is a joint venture between CP Chem and our longtime collaborator, Qatar Energy. With Qatar Energy, we have been collaborators for coming up on 3 decades now. There are 3 joint ventures that we operate together in Qatar today. It's known as Qatar Chemical Company, Qatar Chemical Company 2. We aren't very creative in the naming. And then the last was Ras Laffan Olefins Company. We'd like to think that our companies have a proven track record of safe and reliable operations together. In July of 2019, CP Chem and Qatar Energy announced plans to develop a petrochemical project here in the U.S. I'm pleased to acknowledge in the audience a colleague of mine, Sabar Mansour, who is with us here today. As I mentioned, he is Qatar Energy's U.S. country manager and a member of the board of directors along with myself. So good morning, Sabar. While this is a new project, we are not new to the Orange community. CP Chem and its predecessors have had a presence in Orange since 1955. Our existing facility in Orange manufactures polyethylene and employs over 200 employees and contractors. We believe that the Golden Triangle Polymers Company is in a strong position to be competitive. We're using our extensive experience constructing and operating facilities here in the U.S. and around the world, and we're also leveraging lessons learned from the development and startup of the project that we completed in 2017, which we referred to as U.S. Gulf Coast Petrochemicals Project. All of that experience we hope to bring to a successful outcome on this one as well. Maybe to give you a sense a little bit about the numbers behind the project, if you will. The total installed cost for this project is expected to be $8.5 billion. CP Chem is managing the engineering, procurement, and construction for the project and will operate the facility upon startup. We expect to reach peak construction in the latter part of 2024 and into 2025, and at peak we'll have about 4,500 construction workers on site. We do anticipate that this facility will be operational in 2026. And once operational, the completed facility, and you saw this in the video, will have a capacity on the ethane cracker of a little over 2 million tons, and then 2 high-density polyethylene loops together with 2 million tons of annual capacity. And in the audience is Chad Jennings, who will be the plant manager for that facility, and Chad will have the honor of bringing in 500 new permanent employees to join the CP Chem family. All right, so the title on this says a world-class facility, and that's exactly what we expect to bring. But a world-class facility requires the contributions of many talented firms and individuals. To date, the engineering, procurement, and construction for the project is going according to schedule. We're very pleased about that. And we thank the contractors that we're working with on that project. And if you'll allow me a moment, I'd like to just give you a sense of who we are working with on this effort. First up is ZDJV, which is a joint venture between Zachary and DL USA. DL used to be Dalim. We're also working with Technip Energy, Stone and Webster Process Technology, PCL Industrial Construction, JKJV, which is a joint venture between JGC America and Kiewit Energy Group, BMZ, Third Coast Partners, which is a joint venture between Burns & McDonnell Engineering Company and Zachary Industrial, Emerson Process Management, and W.T. Byler. Again, I just want to express my deep appreciation to all those firms for the work that you've done and will do for us for the next 3 years. So let's shift now, if you will, to talking about the products and the customers that we serve. Golden Triangle Polymers Company will continue CP Chem's commitment to product stewardship and excellence. As the world's population continues to grow and the middle class expands, we expect strong demand for the products from this project, which is the primary product being polyethylene. The facilities we're building both here in Orange and Qatar will help meet this demand. Polyethylene is an essential material that the world relies upon, and it has a variety of different applications in which it's used. For instance, it's used in pipes to transfer the drinking water that we enjoy. It also is used in packaging applications and helps to keep medicine sterile and food fresh. I believe a few years ago a colleague of mine was here and gave a speech, and he might have put a bread bag in front of you and talked about that story. I don't know if there are people in the audience who remember that. It's also used in medical equipment, which helps to save lives. And it's used in a diversity of applications that lightweight materials and that ultimately will play a part in a lower carbon future. For those of you who are a little more adventurous, it's also used in applications that maybe are a little bit closer to home, things like coolers, kayaks, playground equipment for your children. The product from Golden Triangle Polymers Company more than likely not is destined for export when we look at the supply-demand balances of the future. And thus, it really will require very highly efficient supply chains, and I think that connects into a variety of you in the room as well. I think I've heard in some of the prior panel discussions a little bit of talk around sustainability, so I thought I'd take a moment to just drive home to you that how we make our products is just as important as the products themselves. The slide you're now seeing depicts CP Chem's sustainability strategy. As you see, it's based on 3 pillars: climate change, product sustainability and circularity, and social responsibility. These pillars will also help drive the development of the Golden Triangle Polymers sustainability efforts. Our expectation is that the joint venture will embrace these just as much as CP Chem has. The strategy underscores our commitment to sustainable business practices, environmental stewardship, and community engagement. And by expanding our presence and production capacity through this project, we hope to position ourselves to continue providing these essential products that contribute to various industries and to us as a public. That includes things like, as I mentioned, healthcare, packaging, construction, and many more applications. In total, in our view, all of these applications support the well-being of the communities and economy globally. So as I start to wind down my prepared remarks, I wanted to bring things a little bit closer to home. When we started this project several years ago, we conducted an extensive study, an impact study, with support from outside experts, and we were determined that this new facility would provide benefits to the community. This analysis attempted to quantify these benefits in the form of what is referred to as economic output. It essentially represents the value of the goods and services produced by organizations and their revenue. If you will, it's equivalent to a US GDP, but on a very much a local level. And as the slide shows, there are direct impacts from the construction project itself, and there are also indirect spin-off impacts. For instance, the impact of the jobs and the salaries to those firms and employees who are providing materials and equipment to the project, as well as induced impacts for the jobs that are created and the money spent in the local community. We really are very much invested in the welfare of the communities in which we operate and the well-being of their citizens. The GTPC facility will similarly contribute to the social and economic fabric of the entire Golden Triangle region of Texas. Over 2 decades, we expect that this facility will generate more than $50 billion in economic output for the Golden Triangle. As this project has been developed over the past few years, we have engaged community members, local, state, and federal government representatives, and economic development officials as well. We are very grateful. They've been supportive every step of the way. We are truly appreciative of that support and committed to continuing to earn that support as we go forward, whether that be through our actions or the mindsets that we bring to our conversations with you. As an example, Golden Triangle Polymers is collaborating with the Greater Orange Chamber of Commerce to host monthly stakeholder meetings with the city, county, and community leaders. These meetings facilitate open discussions about the project. We also host several community information sessions in the region. In these sessions, members of the public get to meet our project leaders, and I think Chad's participated in a few of those, and learn more about the project, have the opportunity to ask us very direct questions, and we try and provide them direct feedback. We're also excited that earlier this summer we opened up a public information office in Orange for this project. It's a 1,000 square foot facility. It's open 4 days a week. We have a full-time staff there. And so far for the first few months, they've been averaging nearly 100 community connections per month. Citizens come in, they visit the office in person. They can also call or email to inquire about jobs, or maybe if they're interested in being a vendor to the project, or simply just to learn what we're all about. We host community meetings and site tours to try and provide information to the public. If you happen to be in the Orange area, we encourage you to stop by. We have a few representatives here today who can connect you with the right person. We'd love to show off what we're doing out there. So we very much recognize the importance and the responsibility of putting local first, and I'm emphasizing the words there because they're little case local first. It's not meant to be a play on words, but capital L, capital E, or capital F, Local First was launched in March of this year by collaborating with trusted organizations in Orange to ensure local sourcing remains a priority. Local First prioritizes businesses in Orange County for vendor and supplier needs and workforce sourcing in the 9-county Golden Triangle region. Over the summer, we hosted, together with Workforce Solutions of Southeast Texas, a job fair. And we had over 950 people attend that, and according to Workforce Solutions, it was the highest attendance they've had at any job fair in Southeast Texas. It really was quite remarkable. Also this summer, we've worked with the Orange County EDC and 3 chambers of commerce in the area to host a reverse vendor and supplier fair. More than 400 business representatives attended, and since then we've been able to connect with 75 small businesses that we had never had the opportunity to meet before. So in some of the earlier panels, I think everyone was pointing to organizational capability or staffing as significant concerns. And we're thrilled to be bringing jobs and resources to the region. And we want to do that in a manner that's consistent with our values, which is safe and environmentally responsible performance. In March, we presented to Lamar State College Orange, and this is a photograph of it at our groundbreaking, a check for $1.3 million. This donation will facilitate the purchase of a hands-on glycol distillation trainer, and on which the students of LSCO can train. And we're very appreciative to Dr. Johnson for the work that he's doing for us in the community. As you're probably well aware, the ACC indicates that full-time jobs in our industry, on average, about 46% higher average wages than the balance of the state of Texas. We expect to uphold this standard by providing competitive compensation to our future employees and an attractive work environment. We really do want to continue to be a top performer in our industry from a personnel and safety standpoint. If you know us at all, you must know that safety is our highest priority. And this will be a core element of the culture of Golden Triangle as well. This plant will be a modern facility, will be managed through CP Chem's existing operational excellence systems that have been developed and refined over many decades. And quite frankly, have been leveraged off of a Chevron system, to a nod to my previous panel presenter. We also hope to, let me back up. Throughout, our employees and contractors at all levels are empowered to put their health and safety before everything else. We also like to think that we foster an environment of continuous improvement where we learn from past performance both within and within our company and across the industry. In summary, and I don't think it's on the slides, but you may be familiar that the tagline for CP Chem is performance by design, caring by choice. And when you couple that with our core values, which are safety, respect, integrity, and drive, we really think that captures the essence of who we are, and we intend to bring that to this project as well. So before I open it up to you for questions, a few words about what to expect in the coming months. If you've been watching the site at all, you'll know that we've had an extensive amount of civil work going on for the last 18 months. Very soon, you'll start to see us come up out of the ground. The first modules or heavy hauls are expected to start moving in the fall of this year. For those of you who are not familiar, heavy hauls are where we have those special logistical movements that involve specially designed trucks and trailers that have multiple axes and handle very heavy loads. The plans for this project involve shipping modules and large pieces of equipment by barge through Cow Bayou. And we expect that should start here in the month of October and would run all the way through April of 2025. During that time period, we expect to move 200 barges and about 350 modules or pieces of large equipment. These modules and pieces of equipment will arrive at what we're calling the Marine Offloading Facility, or the acronym MOF. Once offloaded, the modules and equipment will be transported along Highway 87 to the construction site. We've been working very closely with TxDOT and on how best to manage traffic during the execution of this project. It's a coordinated multidisciplinary effort, private and public organizations, and again, I would still with you or leave you with the message that our top priority here is the safety of the community. With that, I'll open it up to questions, and thank you very much. And I like to walk around, so I'm going to move away from the podium. All right, so it looks like the first question is, do you expect demand to strengthen by the time you start up in 2026, particularly with other new high-density startups this year in North America? So I'm going to make the presumption. I have several colleagues here in the industry. I think it's fair to say that kind of the petrochemical industry is a little bit in what I'd call the down cycle right now. And there's admittedly a lot of supply that's come on in the market in the last few years. But when we look at the long-term projections around growth, we feel quite comfortable with the investments that we're making. And by the time frame of the startup of these facilities, we fully expect to be in an environment where we'll be quite pleased with the returns off of these investments. Okay, the next question. Will CP Chem be transferring the learnings from the construction of the Channelview facility to this new Orange project? Okay, so I'm going to make an assumption here. When someone said Channelview facility, maybe they meant the facility in Baytown, because we don't have a facility in Channelview. Yes is the short answer. So for instance, I was the project director on the project that we did in Baytown. I can assure you, not because one of the owners is sitting in the audience, we learned a lot of lessons from that project, all of which we are bringing to the execution of the project in Qatar as well as the one here. How many layers are in a bread bag? A lot. I couldn't give you a hard number. Hopefully you'll allow me some grace on that one. Okay, that changed in the middle there. All right, so the question is, what finished consumer products will the new project support? Well, that's a pretty long list. I mean, I would encourage you to think, first of all, they're all polyethylene products, both the ones in Qatar as well as in Orange. They go into a diversity of applications. Some of them are very much what I'd call durable applications. I think I referenced pipe. Things like your kayak or your children's your playground set. There are packaging applications. Some of them are not necessarily the bread bags, but higher durability applications as well. Are you developing the next olefins cracker beyond Golden Triangle Polymers, and will it be in North America? Wow, that is an interesting question, especially when I have some friends from around the industry in the room. So I have the best job in the company. Honest to God, I get to worry about the future. That's where I spend all of my time. I don't have to worry about today's operation or what the margins are. I do worry about those things, but the short answer is we believe in the fundamentals for the long term. We think that there is demand for our products as far out as you can look. I know there are questions around sustainability and what that means for the demand of plastics more generally. From our perspective, we've looked at that, and it's an and situation. You need both virgin polyethylene as well as whether it's mechanical or chemically recycled based polyethylene. So the answer is we are always looking for opportunities to grow. Again, not because one of my owners is sitting in the room. My job is to create economic value for our owners, and we think this is one of the ways to do that. To what degree are you leveraging technologies such as IIoT and artificial intelligence? So I'll give you a two-part answer on that. This was in July. I was visiting Asia, where quite a bit of the engineering for the project in Qatar as well as the US is being done. I think, Chad, you might have been with me on this. And we got to visit one of the engineering offices. Blew my mind away in terms of the technology that they're bringing to the design phase, and then the way to, and to give you an example, they were able to put I'm just going to use the word visor. I'm not technically competent to speak in this area, but they could envision themselves walking through the construction site even though they were in Asia, and they could reach out and touch something and get a full list of the specifications for a valve or a piece of equipment. That gives you maybe a sense on kind of just the applications in the design space. I know that there are drones that would be used to monitor construction progress and again feed that information back real time to the EPC firms. If I take a more holistic CP Chem view of the world, we've been on a business transformation effort for the last 3.5 years. One dimension of that is a digital acceleration. And again, I'm probably too old to understand all the opportunities that are out there. I feel like in what's left in my career, those fundamentals of safe, reliable operation and basic process engineering are still incredibly important. But I acknowledge that there is some change about how maybe we'll approach our work in the future. And so we're all in this phase where I think we have to embrace the fundamentals of what have allowed us to be successful in the past and embrace the future. I think our children and the workforce of the future are going to demand that type of work environment. Do you see all or most of your export volumes using the Port of Houston? So a lot of my background's in the olefins business, and I know there's several of you who are in that space. Olefins is all about optionality. So yes, there'll be some product that'll move through the Houston area, but we've got to use multiple ports in order to get this product out. At 2 million tons a year, that's a lot of product to move. It's got to be a highly efficient supply chain. There are no opportunities for any bobbles, so we've got to be agile, if you will. What percent will stay domestic versus export? I probably won't give you an exact number on that. That probably doesn't feel like a very competitive thing I can say, but I'll just indicate to you that a lot of the product will go overseas. Okay, how does CP Chem evaluate? This is like a flash exam I'm taking here. Okay, how does CP Chem evaluate decarbonization investments in new plants such as Golden Triangle? Wow, that's a fantastic question. All right, so we use a tool, and again, I keep looking over here because I know someone from Chevron sitting over here. We use marginal abatement cost curves. It's kind of the tool that we use to evaluate. You put a value on carbon. You look at the cost of the execution for capturing, or let's say capturing that carbon, and you make an assessment about whether or not it pays out. And maybe I'll just use this as an opportunity to say, because again, I get to spend a lot of time in the futuristic space. I really feel whether it's on the low carbon side or on the circularity side, we need some brilliant minds out there to come up with technologies and solutions that really unlock the scale and at a cost effectiveness level that this could make sense. I think we all acknowledge that there are issues there that need to be addressed, but I'm not sure the technology is necessarily caught up with us to the point. And so for now, we keep making incremental improvements, and I pray that there is some smart postdoc out there in the world who's going to come up with the right catalyst or the right process design that will really unlock the future. Are the modules made in the U.S. or imported? The answer is yes. We're working both with mod yards here on the project here in Orange, here in the U.S. as well as in Asia. So we're using both. And since there's not an, okay, I'm reading, yep, there we go. Are you decreasing the carbon footprint of each new facility built, and if so, by how much? Yes is the answer. The way I would look at this is we as an organization have an objective to reduce our carbon intensity by 15% by 2030. I think we're fortunate in the industry. We've made a lot of investments in the last 2 to 3 decades. So we have world scale, highest efficiency units. Most of them are based off of ethane as a feedstock, which has just naturally a lower carbon footprint. And so I think that's how I would answer the question. And it says thank you in 5 seconds. So I think that means I am out.